Very much, Azwi. So on Sunday, the consultative forum, which was meant to put together a new turnaround strategy for South African Airways, collapsed following the withdrawal of the Department of Public Enterprises. The department has accused unions of negotiating in bad faith and failing to put employee interests first. However, in our interview with the SA Cabin Crew Association and the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa yesterday, they accused the department of being disingenuous and lying about the business rescue plan. To discuss this further, we are now joined by Kgathatso Tlhakudi, who is the Acting Director General of the Department of Public Enterprises. DG, thanks to you for being with us and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Leanne, and thank you for having me on your show. Leanne,
Let me just start off by asking you to put it very, very simply. Does the withdrawal have anything to do with independent business interests? Is this something that you are looking into in the airline and labour unions trying to save too many jobs, which in the department's opinion is short-sighted?
We have to have a viable business plan, and that business plan has been developed with the assistance of Aviation Consulting Agency. The LCF's role was to ensure that the input from the unions are included in that plan. Of course, not all inputs will be factored in. For instance, the airline cannot start with 3,200 people from the start. It is not viable. It will lead to bigger losses, which will just lead to the business rescue process not succeeding. And that's one of the areas that, as to what interests are being projected within by some of these unions, I think the question is best put to them. What we can say to yourself and the viewers is that this is the same situation we found ourselves in December last year. We want these very two unions, NUMSA and SACA, to say the business does not have money. The demands in salary increases that you are making are not feasible. They cannot be accommodated. Even SAPA, the pilots union, with whom they have formed an alliance on this matter, we warned them last year. We said the increases that you got in arbitration process, you need to pay them back because you have created an expectation of the rest of the employees. And these are pilots that are extracting quite a sizable amount of money out of SAA. Their activity is nowhere close to world standards. We are working 540 hours. There's a 720 hours standard across the world. Their salaries are way above the local benchmarks here in South Africa. They have been able, through the regulating agreement, which we have pleaded with the BRPs, that it must be stopped. They've a very perverse system where they benchmark themselves against the highest paying airlines across the world, and as a result, their salaries are totally unaffordable. Now, if those are the interests that are driving this behavior, that is the culture and behavior that we want to see born in the new airline. Productivity must be at the core. And obviously, we are not saying people should not be paid, but it should be paid when the business is making money. But when the business is in a state it's in, people are still wanting to extract unaffordable salaries.
So in a nutshell, you're withdrawing because you just feel that what the unions are asking for is unaffordable, that you cannot be a part of this, and that they're being disingenuous. But on the same side, they are saying that this is going to leave no other avenue open except for the liquidation of the airline. Is that where you see this heading, the liquidation of SAA?
What we know for sure is that the employees, the members of these unions, do not want liquidation. And these unions' leaderships are not representing the interests of those members, because we have had quite a number of approaches from the members that are saying this delay in the approval of the business rescue plan is creating more uncertainty for them. And they are obviously quite worried that they are faced with a stark choice of, in a liquidation, the most that they can get out of SAA as their contracts get terminated is 32,000 rands, versus the packages that we had put before the union leadership, which basically will enable the employees to be able, those that may not be accommodated in the 1,000 people that we need at the start of the business, to go off and at least have time and money to be able to get another economic opportunity. That's what the employees are asking for. That certainty and the elimination of the risk of liquidation. And for the benefit of the viewers, the agreement with Labour is one of the conditions that the BRPs have put forward for the acceptance for the implementation of the business rescue plan. Without that, we don't have a business rescue plan, and liquidation becomes inevitable. And we are really pleading to the union's leadership to please put the interests of the workers before own interests, be they political, because some of the utterances that have come leaders, it looks like this is a political ban fight. We are not interested in that. We are interested in ensuring that we continue to have a national carrier, that the employees that are left behind are given an opportunity to work hard, so that those that have not been accommodated can still be hired going forward. Because one of the clauses that we have in there is that SAA employees will be given the first chance as new job opportunities are going to come. And as we know, as the economy recovers, people travel more. So there'll be more demand. We'll having an opportunity to put more aircraft on the line. So that's what we are asking for. And from where we are seeing, these are very reasonable and straightforward requests. We cannot have the situation that we have had, where even, we have been attacked by these unions in very unsavory words in the public arena. That's not how, if you claim to be partners, you should be behaving. And that's one of the reasons that we have said this, we cannot sustain the LCF under those circumstances. But the plan is there in terms of severance of people, the volunteer severance package. The business rescue plan has accommodated the business plan that we have developed as a department with input from unions. So the basis for the recovery and rescue of SAA is there. It's really now up to the unions to decide whether they want to have a sustainable airline, that they want to save people's jobs, or they want to get involved in politics, which we are not interested in.
Kgathatso, how have you incorporated their proposals? Because, the unions are saying that you're ignoring them. I mean, for example, one of the proposals they put forward was saying cutting staff to a minimum of 2,900 and not 1,000 that seems to be on the plan currently. So how are you adapting to what they are wanting as well?
Well, if you look at the number of 2,900 and 3,200 from NUMSA, we are not far apart. What we had said when we put the 2,900 on the table, we had said those staff members that are not needed at the beginning of operations, which was still, in fact, it was about 875. We had said we'll put those on temporary layoff, which means we'll sustain their medical aid and their pension contributions. And will apply to UIF to pay for their salaries until the operations reach steady state, which would have been sometime in 2021. That was not sustained, or was not accepted by the union. They said that still brings uncertainty. Those people that are temporarily laid off, are they going to get their retrenchment packages if eventually it is found that they are not needed. We said, in order to create a little bit more certainty, let's start with the number we need anyway, which had communicated to them, which was, we put that at 1,000, which is just above the 875, which our plan was saying. So that's how we have accommodated them, and we have said, let's create that certainty for the employees. In terms of the steady state numbers, we're actually not that far apart, and that's why, on our side, we're a bit surprised by the reaction of these unions, because from where we are sitting, this should not be the reason for the behavior that we have seen from them. Because as I say, if you go through the plans, there's a lot that we agree with compared to this. But what we know for sure is that if we start with 3,200, then we might as well close shop. Because it means this business will never be in a position where it can reach a break-even point, which we are projected that in the third year we should start seeing a positive financial outcomes. So that's really where it's...
Just in terms of exactly what you said is what the unions are accusing you of. You've basically just said, if we might as well just close shop. I know you gave a list of reasons as to why, and that's exactly what the unions are saying, that those are your true intentions, is that you were never ever serious about creating another airline and trying to save jobs, and they are saying that your intention is to close this airline down and that this has actually all been a farce.
Well, it begs the question, why would we want to do that? We are an end of the world destination. We are very far away from economic partners and trading partners and sources of our tourism of our tourists. Why would we not want to have a national carrier? Even in South Africa, the two major economic centers, Cape Town and Johannesburg, if you are doing business between the two cities, you need that air connection. It makes absolutely no sense. Why would want to close this? And the message from government has been very clear that we must maintain a national carrier, but we must do so in a responsible way. We cannot have a national carrier that will come back to the fiscals and say we need more money. We must set up a very solid and productive and viable and competitive airline going forward, and that's the basis from which we have been moving. And that's the message, Leanne. It's in the leadership's hands to see this project through, or it will be, if it doesn't succeed, it will be in their hands. The conditions are very clear for the implementation of the business rescue plan. We must agree in terms of the severance packages. Without that, we don't have a plan. And that's the point that I was making earlier, that the unions are rather resorting to politicking. And saying, and actual fact, to put it quite bluntly, lying to the South African public, saying the kind of things that you have just quoted them on. It is not in our interest to do this, but we have a responsibility to South Africans to ensure that the taxpayers' money is used prudently, even in undertaking this project.
Just the final closing point here. Was it worth withdrawing from the forum? Has it not jeopardized the future of the airline? And if you can also add to that point, will this vote on the plan actually ever happen now? And what is the way forward? Well,
the vote is going to happen, Leanne. It's been moved back. I think it's the 14th of July that will be having the vote, and we're quite positive that the creditors will vote positively on this, and we believe that if they had been given an opportunity to vote instead of the adjournment that was requested by the unions, would be having an approved business rescue plan today. So that's what we believe it will be able to achieve. We have done the hard work in terms of engaging with these creditors, the major critical ones, and we'll continue to do so to ensure that we arrive at a solution.
All right, we've got to leave it there. Kgathatso, thanks very, very much for talking to us. Kgathatso Tlhakudi is the Acting Director General of the Department of Public Enterprises, talking to us about the reasons why they withdrew from the forum that was supposed to develop a new operating model for the national airline, SAA. All right, time now for your sports news.